Hey folks, how you guys doing? This video is related to some of the questions I've had about the car, my Camaro ZL1, but specifically around what do you need, or how are you able to purchase this car, right? I think that's the question a lot of people are asking. And I've had some posts where some folks are saying that, well, I have a 750 FICO score, credit score, and am I able to get the car, right? And so I just wanted to put a quick video around how is a person able to afford, a $75,000 car, and the amount of time it actually takes, guys, to be able to get, unless you can buy a car cash, and you're not going to buy a car on credit, then this probably video is not for you. But so a couple of things is credit. So the question is, if I have good credit, can I buy a car like this, right? And so credit is just one thing that's required to be able to purchase any type of car. You need to have some level of work history, right? You also need to have a certain type of income and something that's been consistent that pays you, such as your paycheck, and you can prove it to the bank, right? So, one of the examples I use is picture if you're the bank, would you lend money to somebody just based on, belief? Oh, I believe you're going to pay me back your money. And I think if we're all banks, we would probably not do that, right? I think banks purposely look at people's financial background and credit to know that they're receiving a stable income to be able to pay for something like this, right? Same for a mortgage. Of course, I don't want to go into mortgages as specific to a car, right? But there's several things that are required when buying a vehicle, right? You need to have a stable income, very important. You need to have a good credit, and you're gonna have to have good work history, right? You have to have some kind of a proven track record. You just can't come in and announce. Again, the bank doesn't know who you are, so the credibility comes through your history and your job and so on and so forth, right? So Camaro ZL1 again, right? $74,000. If you guys have seen some of my other posts, this is the most expensive car I've ever bought, right? But I had to do baby steps. I'll give you a great example. When I first bought my first car, and when I say first car, my first car was actually a Camaro for $1,000 that my brother-in-law lent me for free, 0 interest, by the way. I'm talking specifically where you're actually going to go to a dealership, a used car or new car dealership, and you want to buy a car, but you don't have the out-of-pocket to be able to do so. And so you need somebody to upfront you some cash, that being a bank. What I say by baby steps is you cannot aim for the stars, right? If you're making, say, I don't know, let's say $25,000 a year, right? And you want to go out and buy a car like this, and you might have a credit score of 750 or 800. The bank's not going to lend you that money, right? Because what they're looking at is, how much income are you making? Can you actually even pay for this car based on, say, a $30,000 salary? And the answer is probably highly no, right? Now there's ways around it. You typically, they'll ask for a significant amount down to reduce the risk in case you stop paying for the vehicle. But it's very important that that they're always looking to protect their asset, and they don't want you to become a liability of their asset, right? So again, going back to the baby step is, my first car that I decided to purchase, where I actually needed help from the bank, it was $12,000. And I go into the dealership, again, very naive. I was very green, and this is hence why I'm posting this video. And I go in there, and it was a $12,000. It was a Mercedes Benz. It was a 2003, I want to say, a C class. If you guys remember those, it had lots of miles on it. But I loved the car, and it was a Mercedes, and I was young, right? Why not? And I go in there. They run my credit, and my credit was not great, which that requires effort as well. My work history, I think I had been working at the current job, I think it was 7, 8 months. So again, not a lot of substance there. And then I also wanted to I was only coming up, I think it was $3,000 or $3,200, right? For a $12,000 car with no credit, very low income, not showing any stability to the bank to make them feel comfortable. And I remember what's funny is the bank came back and actually approved me, but the interest rate, guys, was 25%. So this $12,000 car with $3,000 down with the 25% interest rate, that's crazy, right? So there was two ways I can look at it. Either keep saving more money, right, and buy the car cash, right, or bite the bullet, right? And what I mean is just bite the bullet and build some credibility, build some equity in your history. So when the bank looks at you again in the future, you might get much better financial terms with maybe less down or more down or whatever the reason it may be. And it allow you that first baby step. What I mean is, I did decide to bite the bullet. And I think it was like 25% interest rate, which again, looking now of where I'm at, I mean, that's tough, right? I mean, that's a high interest rate, but I wanted the car, right? And so what I said is, I basically said is, you bite the bullet, and I ended up buying the car. I had to come up with another $500 down on the car, and I forgot what my payment was, but again, it had the 25% interest rate, and I think I kept that car for about 2.5, 3 years. And that's when I started looking at a newer Camaro. This was when Camaro was coming out with the new I think it was a 5th gen, in 2010, and I was interested in that car, and so I ended up going to GM when that car came in, and they struggled a little bit to approve me for that other car, but because I had already built some credibility that I could pay down $12,000, right? Even though I still owed money on that car after like 2.5 or 3 years of ownership, it did bring credibility to the bank, right? To say, look, this guy was able to keep this Mercedes Benz, right, or this vehicle. He was able to pay it for 2.5, 3 years consistently with no missed payments. Maybe he can handle a $35,000 note, right? Maybe he can do that, right? And so there was a bank that actually picked me up, which was actually GM Financial. I think it was GM Financial at the time through GM, and they ended up putting me on I want to say it was like a 7.5% interest rate, but I had to come up with $8,000 down, and this was on a $36,000 car, right? So again, baby steps. I had to take that step to get to that next level. Again, unless you're paying cash, this doesn't belong to you, right? So again, this was baby steps, and that's how I've been able to get into this car, guys, right? Again, we're talking about a $74,000 car, but it's happened through baby steps, right? Income needs to be able to support that I'm able to get this car. What's crazy about this car is I got this car and I gave 0 down, okay? And my interest rate's in the low 3s. By the way, if you're going to get interest rates and you want to get a solid interest rate, you want to go through a credit union. Just as an FYI, right? Sorry. So again, from what my journey was about 15, 20 years ago, right? With those high interest rates and banks not feeling comfortable loaning me money because again, the risk profile, over time you build credibility. And banks will actually fight for you. Especially there's some websites where you can actually put in your information, and different companies will reach out to you and they'll compete for your business because of your excellent work history, your income, and your credit, right? And that's what you want companies to be. You don't want to be on the other side, right, where you're getting these ridiculous high interest rates to purchase a car because you have no credibility. But again, how do you get the credibility, right? The only way that can happen is either you take the plunge and bite the bullet like I did in the Mercedes-Benz, or you can have maybe a parent that can co-sign for you, which, you know, for some people that might be a little risky, because remember, if they do anything bad, it's a reflection of you and might be able to destroy everything you've taken you years to build. So again, I just wanted to show you guys that, yeah, you know, a lot of people think that it's just, oh, if I have great credit score, I can go out and get this car, right? Or if I have great income but crap credit, you know, I can just go and get the car. And maybe you can, but just be aware you're going to be subject to high interest rates. And, you know, that's where they get you, right? Because that's where your note can be very expensive. And remember, they collect on interest at the very beginning of your note. Most of your stuff goes towards the principal before it starts hitting the principal. So that's all. I just wanted to show you a video around, you know, there was questions I had around, can I get a ZL1? You know, what was the cost of the ZL1? If I have a credit score of 720, can I get it? If I'm gonna give $3,000 down, am I able to get the car? You know, you gotta understand that every scenario is different, but what I just shared with you guys are just some of the fundamentals. And there's different ways of going by, I'm sure this is not the only way, but I just want to share how it happened to me. I had to just take baby steps, all right? That's pretty much it. Nothing new on the car. There's a new video that's going to be coming up probably in about a week and a half. I'm trying to adjust some of the camera angles based on some of the feedback you guys have been providing. And that was pretty much it, guys. You guys have a great 4th of July. It's in a couple of days. And I just wanted to post a quick video to respond to some of the questions some of you guys had. So peace out.